Hello, welcome to the next video. Today we have a special. I invited a guest, Changer, a good friend of mine. He will talk about the Nightelf matchup as a human player, what you need to know. And this is the first part. It will be about how pros approach this matchup, like Chaemiko and Sok. And in the second part, you will see off-meta strategies against Nightelf.
First of all, what I wanted to show you guys was some idea I came up with. I already shared this with Leon before. We kind of tried to create something like a template. I wanted to find a place to foster, like a lot of people, they make notebooks or whatever, but I tried to make a little bit more visual, and I just want to show you guys the template I created.
Very
Because
beautiful.
this might be, yeah, it's just a bunch of icons right now, and it's not
Yes.
really reliable. But I just to make understand how I think about strategy in a certain way. It's not always just thinking go through with your strategy, but this probably describes best what I think of, like on a very high level. Like you have something like, I see Warcraft 3 not as a level, as I said, I see it from a strategy angle, which means it's always a matter of traits. Like you always need a trait. So what you usually have is a 50-50 case. Like I, some people would say if you pick human, you're already at 40 against 60, but my
Yes.
strategization goes around that the matchup is kind of equal. And if
Yes.
you play against certain races, there is certain power balances, but which also change during the game. Like so, this very vastly breaking it down to early, mid game, and late game on the right side, and possible scenarios that could happen in here. Of course, that's why it's not very trivial. Yeah, let's say if you have a 100, it's maybe not. It could be also it will not, the game always starts probably here. Yeah, but certain moments you are weak or strong against a certain race. I broke it down a little bit here for human mirror. Like what you do, like if it completely trades off, you just go down this road, and at some point you gotta win or you gotta lose. If
Yes.
it works, in the best case you win. So but how do you adapt your strategy in case of you have a best case, or what you need to do if you have a worst case, whether to figure this out. So this is just the top level idea of how I define a strategy when I think about this in my brain. And I tried a little bit to break it down. Yeah, this someday I might have the time to fill out this template. I also have like creep route, like how to get fast to level 3. Also, what we need to think about when we talk about strategy is always the strategy doesn't just exist in a vacuum of a matchup. It always refers to certain maps, to certain things I play. And also we need to consider what the enemy is playing, like what are we up against. That's a very important part of strategy. But let's tune into the games.
What's very nice, I really appreciate your work there. And also, what I find very interesting is to see very exactly at which time you go for tier 2 and tier 3, and in which case. And
Yeah.
I think it's very important to know how to react to certain moments, to know sometimes, oh, didn't work like I wanted to, so what can I do next, right? I
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Like it's just a top level, very easy template. You could really, the idea was you could customize it the way you want, even put in timings inside. Like at this minute mark, I need to do this push or whatever
Yes, yes,
you want to
nice.
do here.
All right.
So we will start with a game of Sock against Colorful. It's a little bit long game, that's why I will a little bit forward up, but just I want to break down the decision making in the process because, as I said, just to repeat it again,
Yeah.
we want to think about from a strategy level, but also what I want to bring you guys closer is that in the very most of the cases, micro is also about strategy behind or even about decision making. And decision making, at least for my part, is always on the strategy side. So when good players think about their micro, I mean, everyone on this top level, they know how to put their units back and forth. It's a very basic mechanic. But then what really to do in the right amount of case. And I think Happy is a great example of this, which a lot of people, even I think he does it kind of intuitive. He's not like the guy who probably theorizes a lot about his play. I
Mm-hmm.
think he has a very great intuition about what decision, what time, and this you could also break down as a strategy decision and not merely as as just purely mechanical skill.
Yes. Yes.
So
We have Grace DH is colorful, or who is
colorful, yes,
colorful? Yes.
exactly.
So
So
colorful against Sock.
I wanted to find very basic games, which is the kind of like meta play we have
Mm-hmm.
today, which is always the referred thing you should try to learn and to play because it's usually the most efficient part. And if you want to go to something off meta, you usually need to take a lot of effort customizing it. So
Mm-hmm.
we're just gonna analyze this. So we are expecting Colorful to play Keeper first, opening Sock probably Archmage going for an expansion,
Mm-hmm.
and we are kind of like expecting this game to turn out a little bit first a lot pressure from Colorful, and later trying to get up an expansion group his heroes a bit, and Sock we're gonna see what Sock is replying on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will speed a little bit up the start.
Yes. Very interesting. Also,
We
that
can,
on Concealed
yeah,
Hill, for example, I think I can just speak for myself, but the most dangerous moment is at the expansion, to creep that well and not to lose too much. Right?
exactly.
Would you agree
We
to
can
that?
already,
Yeah.
yes, for sure.
Mhm.
Like be very clean in your early games is probably what brings you the most wins.
Yes.
And we can already see what Sok is doing here. He's building a farm here,
Mm-hmm.
especially because just in case the enemy comes with a Huntress push, which is very strong on this map,
Mm-hmm.
because you have the heal fountain here he can heal up for free at night. You have a very hard camp here to creep. So this is already a strategy decision from Sok to say I build my farm here just to prevent possible towers who will get built here at night to push me. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. To be afraid of something he doesn't see too early enough to counter it.
Exactly. Genau. He also scouts here if there's any wisp attempts already. But you can see like he sent his wisp a little bit later. He just wants to be sure he can creep the save without getting detonated. Yeah, here
Mm-hmm.
he sends the Armage immediately to defend here.
Mm-hmm.
Just he doesn't want to lose Swaddlement because it's the main source of tanking the damage from this Gnoll overseer. And he also decides to go for a fast creep. Like he didn't do
Yeah.
this camp here.
I see that. I would want to say that because it's did he scout? I didn't see. Did he go for a scout, or was it like just like okay, he's creeping the orange and then immediately the expansion?
I think his intention here was to scout if there are any wisps around, and this was bringing him the idea of, does my enemy want to come fast or not? Yeah. So
Yeah.
he thought like, okay, there is no wisp around, so he will probably not interrupt me because coming just with a level 2 keeper or something by himself without the wisp detonate is probably not going to do it. Like that's what I would feel was the thinking of Thok here.
I see. I see. All right.
That's why he goes for direct creep. Usually today a lot of humans delay the creep to be creeped more safely at night.
Yeah, that's a good way. I think I like it too. Um, Sometimes night elves adapt to that and go there earlier, so that can be very tough. But in this case, like the way he's microing this, he didn't lose anything yet. That's very nice.
Exactly, yeah. He tries to keep them here behind the gold mine,
Mm.
just because it's the longest distance away from him. If he would run back with him, he
Oh
could
my
easily
god, he
guess
didn't
night from
lose
this.
any peasant. What a
Yeah,
dream.
exactly.
Oh my god.
He like played this perfectly. He pulls
Oh.
them back to his main base, so they are more safe, but colorful. At least he reacts in time.
Yeah.
So
What?
it's
Just one peasant experience, two peasants died, three peasants, but that is totally normal, to be honest.
yeah, it's kind of expected, and he had a very fast expansion because he creeps very fast, very well.
Mm. And
So
even though
like
he didn't
he
creep the green spot, he has level 3 right now, which is very good. And I'm very strong on Concealed Hill because he has level 3 and the opponent has just level 2 Keeper, right?
exactly right, and I didn't see where he got this level 3, but
Treants.
uh, Ah, okay. He killed the tree.
Yes.
Yes, but you always try to get in this phase to get to level 3 to be just much stronger in your defense or harass or any fighting.
Yes.
And he pulls here. He already scouting like where will his enemy creep, yeah, because he's expecting two things: whether there will be a Naga push or Panda. But with Panda, you usually want to creep, and that's why he's already looking here. He thinks this spot is an easy target as he placed already Engine of War, and he tried to interrupt the easy creeping by already pulling this out.
Yes.
Colorful is making a little bit unusual play. He chooses the Panda, but still goes aggressive, which will probably not work very well.
Because also he has not a level 3 keeper, and also he
Yeah.
faces Arcane Tower, which means he won't do too much damage, and if he's investing too much and not doing a lot damage, he gets behind because he needs to creep right now. That's
Exactly.
what his main target should be.
Yes. So it's just really planking, and he knows he is not really in big danger here, but he still rolls back just to be sure to defend properly.
Yes. And also, what I recognize and now doing much more than before, I go for the archers as well because it means he can't creep well, and
Exactly, yeah.
they are better to get killed than the heroes. Just to make them lower HP is not that much of a value, but getting the archers is very, very good in the early game for
Yeah.
the human players.
And also what you want to do now as an idea, like it's close to daytime. Like everyone always complains about night elf moonworlds, but mostly they don't do much about to deny those moonworlds, because what you really want is to get the moonworlds low, like by trying making damage. As I said, it's a game of trading. You need to trade damage to deny his heal. And so for you need to do something like be active, hitting the enemy to calm down the moonwaves, let him lose his mana, and then the moonwaves will not be much of a thing. So that's also a reason why he's going for pushing right now. He's level 3, there's nothing to creep, and now his idea is to harass as much as he wants. And part of harassing and slowing down the Nightelf is just doing as much damage as efficiently as you can, yeah? Not just for the economy, but also damaging anything what the Nightelf has to lower the Moonwell mana.
Yes, yes. And now every second he gets him attention, get attention to his footman and stuff, is buying time for him to get on tier 2, his units and his second hero, right?
Exactly.
So he just wants him to delay his creep and and for himself to get tier 2 and his units.
Yeah, and you see how great he did it. Like he denied his AoE, so usually he cannot take this big spot now. Like a Panda is way behind. Panda wants to be close to level 3 now. And everything, and even Colorful started to decide for 2 Dryas because he felt the need of like being a little bit behind. And Sock brings now up the second barracks. I'm not 100% sure about this decision.
Me too,
It's
because
one way to do it.
because I think like I would do it when I see the Night Elf go for a lot of Drides and commit to tier 2 longer. That's what I like, because then you can immediately counter it. But now he maybe delays his own and late game army. But yeah,
I also think that he believes now there will be a lot of Dryads, and that's kind of why he goes this choice. Because with Footies and Rifleman, you can probably break it out, but it's not the best choice. I also just enjoy a few rifles and then just mix the custom mortar combination. It should be also fine.
I do it as well, and since I do it more like consistently every time, I think like I it's much easier to get into the late game because you have a very good army, and sometimes getting 2 barracks, delaying yourself, and if you're not getting too much of an advantage out of pushing him, then it's not that good. But
yeah, I think it's also the reason why this game is not ending soon.
Yeah, it's more what to say that. I mean, like that early game should be like, I think Chaemiko would go for Panda, double Sanctum, Workshop immediately, and then Rifleman's 2 or 3 priests, and then into sorceresses, Spellbreakers, Mortars, and then late game, right?
Exactly, yeah. I think that's more viable and would win him the game very easy here. But he chooses something different.
He chooses the hard way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, learning from this kind of programmer replays doesn't mean you shouldn't be critical about what they are doing, because sometimes they are also making weird strategical decisions.
Good point. Good point. I don't really know why he's going for double barrack, to be honest.
No,
But
me neither. It doesn't bring him anything. But he will push now out a lot of riflemen, and let's see. Well, Colorful is doing literally nothing here.
yes, and I
losing a shot.
like the splitting here, that he knew he can just defend it by letting the footman stay at the expansion and go with the archmage into the main base. That was a nice decision. What do you think about blood mage in that case?
I think Black Mage is really good against Panda. Like, you can easily just drain all his mana all the time, making the Panda useless. And of course, he has great RA capabilities. But then again, I don't understand his choice with the Rifleman. Because Blood Mage and Archmage, they go so well with Spellbreakers, like just putting in the AoE in the middle of your breakers so the bears cannot fight them. It works really well.
Yes, and I think he could already have 2 Sanctum Sorceresses, Spellbreakers, and slow down the bears and stuff. So, well, yeah. But, yeah.
I think one reason Sok likes to go Rifleman on this map is also because the given parts of this map. If you have Rifleman, you can really easily creep these to red spots. They have very valuable items, like he just dropped this aura.
Wait a second, I need to refresh. Wait a sec.
Okay, I will stop.
What? Come on.
Now
I'm
you
back.
can hear.
Now I'm back.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Great.
Go on. Yeah.
Like, you can get this kind of aura items here. It's very rate experience, and usually with the caster army, it's not that easy to creep.
Yes.
This again, as we consider any strategy also with the given of the map, it's also probably part of a thinking here, even though it might be not as efficient. At least we are, we believe it's not as efficient as it should be.
Yes, because also like investing now 2 sanctums and again a workshop, he delayed with a double barrack his other buildings.
Exactly, and I mean, he pushed out 5 riflemen and not going for any more.
Yeah.
He could have done this easily with just 1 barracks, I think.
Yeah.
Was not necessary, and he's not building any further riflemen. Yeah, it's really.
Maybe he had something in mind and then switched up, and now, yeah. Well, but what was the decision? And if he would have gone for the normal way, I think also he could have done more pressure. Now Colorful gets some time, and he needs that time to recover.
Yeah. It gives him a lot of time. Like, of course, Colorful doing great here, splitting this army. This is what, like, the usual moon play, running around with Dryads and catching up some units.
It's very tilting sometimes as a human player. Like, those Dryads can easily get some units.
Yeah. And now what he's facing, and that's why I think his decision was kind of wrong, is like, now he could have had his army up much faster, like just pushing through tier 2. He decides to go to tier 3, also because he knows Colorful likes mountain giants and they are very good with the fountains on this map. So he's going for a little bit safer tier 3 play, even though he had this great early game, but which also gives, of course, Colorful now a lot of time. And now he does. The problem is, before he could have attacked at daytime, probably only half full moonwells. Now he attacks end of the night. Moonwells are completely full. 2 mountain giants already out. Bears, Dryads. Yeah, he has every potential now to lose this fight. And meanwhile, the expansion of Colorful goes up.
Yes. Also, this timing is like, now it's night. He's close to his base, and I think he's not just losing units and not very good trading in units. He wants to get okay.
He's going now for the whole. He realizes, okay, this game will stay a bit longer against knights. So he decides to go everything to go for third.
Well, weird decision in my opinion, because especially mountain giants are good against those kind of towers, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think, like, even though they get up, he is now investing resources into that, and that they will stay up and he won't get hurt. I think like he should have done that earlier when he gets a lot of units, and then maybe, right? So now he attacked, he got fought back, and the town portaled, and now it's interesting that he's going for a third expansion, or tries to. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure, but I think he saw the momentum here that Colorful had his
Ah.
own expansion. He had a Gyrocopter here, and he saw it's not crypt yet. So he must have thought he didn't know about this ward, obviously. So he thought he can just push some towers up here in the middle while he's creeping his expansion, and he just stays around. And this way he can just make up, like, be able to fix up the second expansion, which is like his long-term winning solution, because he knew
Yes.
he cannot push him anymore. So I actually think he does a good play here, and
Mm.
it will also bring him the game in the end. So I will just fast forward now the rest, because
Yes.
it's really just like each other fighting
So now the double
constantly.
barrack is maybe getting his value by pushing like getting some knights very fast.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good
no.
thing. Yeah.
Even though he has no knights yet.
Mm.
Like, it takes him a lot of time. I'm not sure. I think he could have closed the game way earlier. And
Mm.
he's capable of doing such pushes, yeah. He showed this against Moon in a
And
VSP recently.
of course, and I also see him playing very strong on Autumn Leaves with Tinker the second, for example. He
Yeah.
likes to do that push.
And
All
this is
right.
the army, late game army you don't want to fight, yeah. Fairy
Mm.
Track is up. They can constantly interrupt your position. You always need to go back, and you lose units against the Dryads.
Mm.
But he's doing it very well. Like, if you think about like how he's kiting backwards against the slowed units and permanently crushing them with the AoE, it's
Mm.
really strong. And every time the Fairy Dragons come, he storts back.
Mm-hmm. And here it comes the strength of this map. Normally, without a fountain,
Yeah.
this Nightelf would have
Yeah.
a hard time. But now, look at that. How much value.
Everything.
It was red. It was red
Ah,
completely.
yeah. And
Yeah.
still full moon worlds.
But you think soccer has a huge economy, can TP in right now,
Yes.
but he waits. He has his scroll, right?
Yeah, he waits. And that's the really good part about like Blood Mage or Panda Second. Like, you can just burn down expansions and the Night Elf can literally do nothing against it.
Mm.
And he's using the Strange, just going for economic win.
Mm.
Because it's kind of like Night Elf late game army is not really pleasant to fight.
Mm.
And this is like a typical also position you want to do when you are with more bases. You go for base rate.
Mm.
As long as you have more bases and you have knights and mortars, you can always do a base, go in for a base race. If you have a good big army, you
Yes.
don't want to defend, you just base race, because you know you will always come out ahead.
Yeah, and
As long
also
as you
yeah,
don't need to fight him,
yeah,
you don't fight him.
and also you told me a lot of times that mortars are so good to make something like this,
Yes.
and you see how much damage he's doing, and he makes sure that
Yeah.
if he fights him and trades well, he is in a good position, even though he
Yeah.
won't win the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he fights like now here in this very narrow part, because where he is like circling him around.
Mm.
So he chased the fight here, but he doesn't want to commit to fight. He's even building up the next expansion here.
Yes.
So he knows in any cases he doesn't even need to fight the army to win anymore. And he will not.
Yeah.
He
And
will always go back.
and now the good thing is like he has completely map control, and Colorful needs to be scared of base trade
Yeah,
more than losing to the army.
exactly. He even goes for tanks, there's not much.
Mm.
He can always defend here, even though he's now facing really scary heroes.
Yeah, and also tranquility without having an MK is also sometimes very annoying.
Yeah, he knows exactly these heroes are too strong to fight with mountain giants. This is a funny situation here. You barely see that, but I a little
Yeah.
bit fast forward. In the end, it comes down to, of course, Sock winning this game, but it's not really important anymore.
No.
Like, in this case, Sock chooses to go for very, very defensive way. Yeah, it can work, but it can also a little bit break your neck.
Yeah, but because I thought like, oh, if Colorful wouldn't have gone for that bad of an early game.
Yeah,
Imagine just that it would be equal, or maybe a bit favored, but even then, Colorful could have been back easily by
exactly.
the choices Sock made to go for double barrack and maybe late game approach. But now he has level 6,
Yeah,
right?
and he goes
Yeah,
full laming.
yeah, which
Full
is
laming.
yeah,
I mean, now he tries to get a bigger army, but he always gets out when the ultimate pops.
yeah.
Fight in the
That's
towers.
awesome. That's wait a second. I need to refresh. Wait a sec. Then call. Come back. All right. Yeah, but that
Yeah.
was. I mean,
There's no way he can come back colorful. Even though he kills so many units, we see that he had stronger, but just pressuring them down through
mm-hmm.
for taking the good fights on. Yeah, this is something.
So to sum it up, we saw Sok on the Concealed Hill against Nightelf. He decided to go for an expansion. He skipped the green spot to get a faster expansion and less aggression on his creeping. He had a very good early game. He could have, in our point of view, you never know, but we think like he would have won easier if he would have just gone for a double sanctum and workshop immediately, and then spellbreakers, maybe a few rifles, casters, mortars. That's the most
I
common
think
way
so.
to play it. He went for double barrack and also made it happen that he went for a third expansion and made sure that he's trading better than him. And in the long term, he made it happen to win, but
Yeah,
he could have done it, in our opinion, much
yeah.
easier. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think Sok is a kind of the player who thinks on this map a lot about playing one base or also playing this very defensive style because
Mm-hmm.
of this position in the middle, which is gold mine, how he played it. And I just think sometimes a player is so much focused on his game plan that he doesn't see the opportunity to end the game earlier. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He just, from his beginning, he thought, okay, usually this is a big elf map. They go for mountain giants with a fucking fountain and I want to
Mm-hmm.
deny that and just go for the long run and
Yes,
hunger
yes.
him out because I know I'm not gonna win the fight. So I go for tier 3. I need everything up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, but I want to now with the next replay, and this is a great advantage, like Chaemiko and Kaho, and where they play more the style we would prefer it, or which is more common now.
I love
And
how
also,
Chaemiko plays against Night
yeah,
Elf. Yeah,
it's
sorry.
more the signature also of him, but it shows how it would work with a push, like an early push.
Mm. Ah. I love to see how Chaemiko plays against Night Elf. I think he's the best human playing against Night Elf in the world. Of course, Sok is also a very good player. Um,
You shouldn't underestimate Sok. What he did against Moon was just
that
incredible.
was also. I don't underestimate. I think that both are great players. It's hard to choose one if
Yeah,
you need to.
I was just Sok. Sorry.
Yes, you're a big Sok fan.
Currently, yes.
As
Currently,
a
yes.
like player wise, or I mean, I think like I see what you say about like, but let's get to the game. We can
Yeah,
we can talk about that later. So
sure.
typical thing, he gets harassed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he does it really well. Yeah, it's
Mm.
nothing special. You just want to go down to the point and decisions he's making. Now
Mm-hmm.
he's scoring against it.
Interesting. Why is the Night Elf going for mercenaries? Can you explain me that? Is it why?
I have no idea.
Because I think when you go for that, you want to go for a push, or like going Naga second and maybe make some pressure, but without level 3 and
think so
having
too.
I don't get the decision by the Night Elf.
Maybe he forgot to build archers.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, Anxiety says Elf wants to put pressure with Naga, but even then, now it's too late. Level 3 Archmage,
Mm.
he will have. I mean, right? It's like
I
the.
think he just has some extra gold and he wanted to spend it.
All
I'm pretty
right, all
sure.
right, all right. If
Like,
that's
because
yeah.
they're useful for anything, like whether he pushes now or he goes for an expansion.
All right.
He like being able to display what element should they serve him for any purpose, and if you get them for free without creeping, it's quite good. Even though I consider maybe it's not a good decision, but we don't want to judge the elf.
No,
We
no,
just
no,
judge
no,
the
no.
human.
I mean, I think it just is so expensive for that, but if you're
Yeah, I
not
think
pushed,
also
but
it's.
yeah.
I also think it's too expensive. You could better put out some drieds. It's more valuable.
Mm. Okay, now. So you told me about that map that all like your opinion is you like more the natural to be crept, but right? The way Himiko is doing that, because
Yeah,
you said always to me that he's giving up mid control of the map, or is it hard to fight against him? What do you think about it right now?
I think sometimes it's really if you get this place here, then you need to consider you don't have a lot of creep camps around you. Only this one and this one, then they are very small,
Mm.
and you need to really find a way to get around to reach your enemy. And if you are here, I prefer this expansion. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit more to the middle, but and harder, easier to push against. But you have this woods here, which you can always work around. You can go for this camp if you can't compete the middle, or even work around here, or you have the choice to go down here. Like you have more opportunities if you stay in the middle of the map.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a matter of choice, and we can also see
Wow, a lot of
How
footmans.
Chaemiko does it. Yeah, Chaemiko goes, and this is something I really like about. He only goes footman the whole time. Yeah, he goes very late blacksmith, and also he will not push out the rifleman until he gets out the first priest because he know otherwise they will get entangled and die, and they are too valuable. So
Mm.
he just decides to go for a lot of footman with a panda second and make a lot of pressure now on tier 2 because he know footman is all he need against anything the Nightelf can bring down. Like whether it's Dryad or archers, literally he has nothing to beat footmen except for his heroes.
Mm.
And we'll see how he utilized his footmen. If you need to think about if your plan is to make a push on tier 2 at any time. If you make a push somewhere, you always need to prepare your push. And
Mm.
he's preparing his push by having a lot of units already early on the ground to keep a lot of pressure and delay the Nightelf down.
Mm.
Because you want to bring him not having any bears, because all your army is perfectly against range. Only the bears can be a little bit dangerous to you. So
And also I think like what he's very good at is like making sure he won't lose too many footmans in the early game. So it looks like he has a lot of footmen, but I think he just didn't lose too many in the early game.
yeah,
So now, yeah.
yep. Then behind he prepared it like for a stronger attack list,
Mm.
seemingly.
Like being a
Keep him
bit
a
more
little bit in the back.
passively and then now full aggression.
Exactly. And it forces kind of also Kaho to go for a lot of dryads again, which usually you don't want. You want to go for fast spears, but if he would have went for fast spears, he would have lost the game right now.
Now,
And here comes the expansion now because he defended this push and he's safe.
mm.
Expand now.
Like,
And Chaemiko keeps the pressure up, like he wants to get this up. Even he's not even creeping with his panda right now.
yes.
He gets now the first rifleman
I,
with priest.
I think what he knows is that the Night Elf has no expansion. He knows when the way he can lose this is getting now a fight. I
Yeah,
think that most of the time I think the same that when I'm in this position, the Night Elf catches me off guard with two less units. He can come back
exactly.
by
Yeah,
killing, like
that's why
now,
he's
like
yeah,
killing units for right one creep spot. And if he would make it happen that he won't lose too much, he can get to a high
yeah.
supply army and then fight him. Yeah.
That's why you fight close to your base, where you can call militia support.
Mm.
You can just fight more valuable. And he also knew the panda was not level 3 before, so Kaho
Mm.
will probably creep a bit. So he defends this very well.
Yeah.
And he prepared everything for his push. He even scouts if there's an expansion. He
Yes.
knows the bear cell will still take maybe a little bit of time. Maybe the first will come now.
Mm.
And he has all the he got all the space for him now to even delay his push a little bit and first defend.
That's true.
So he makes sure that there's no more threat. Goes there, and he will stay very passive. He knows he has a great position here, so he will just stay here, and he will just
I like to do that as
build
well
a
because
mine.
it's
Yeah,
so
it's
strong.
very strong. Nightelf can do nothing against. He can't push inside here.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I'll come back. What's yeah? Okay, now. Yeah, and now he's killing the expansion, right?
And here we see something like how he places his army is really great. Yeah. If you
Yes.
want, I like maybe small anecdote like when when I used to study about, I never thought about that much about army placement before. I used to play with a Lithuanian player, and this guy, he used to study old military Lithuanian tactics from the Middle Age. Think about his placement of units and about how to strategize around them.
Mm.
And usually you have like, can't paint like, but you have like this kind of circle way. If you want to play, let's say, you always want to, a lot of players underestimate how important it is to keep like kind of a sort of formation. Yeah. You always want not to give him enough space to really attack with his full power, and you want to stay kind of that you can attack with full power without maybe suffering from AoE. So he turns his units a little bit like in a long way, and he makes like a kind of like a not too big front here. Like he just fights in the square. He doesn't go for the full range, because if he goes for the full range, it more benefits the bears who can attack in the full detail here. Yeah, if they are in a line, they want to be in a line, or they even better, they want to be like this circle around you. Yeah, but you kind of can make, even though it looks like a little bit you will be easy circle from him, he keeps it up, so keeping the bear slowed and not giving him the opportunity, and always a little bit fall back. Yeah, this is what we usually do with the kiting. Well, he knows he gets flanked by this dryad, but he keeps his priest and his riflemen close to his mortars, so the dryads, they don't make a really big problem for his units.
And they
And
also
here,
don't attack yet, right? So if they would be behind the panda above, they would attack the
yes,
spellbreakers. And now he wanted to make sure that Chaemiko is out of position, but Chaemiko reacts instantly.
exactly. And so long here, so the panda doesn't reach you directly. It's overturned some. He has a good defend here in the great word, because he's not stacking them up in a line, but more like in rows. Yeah. When this spellbreaker gets hit, he can just put it down here. It can still attack. And
Yes.
the other spellbreaker tanks the next damage. Yeah. This is kind of what you want with the range army. You want to kind of place them in rows, where with the melee army, you want to bring them on a big line. Or even better, to circle him. Yeah. So this is really works really great here. So the dries, they do nothing.
Now he's
The
coming
panda
through. Yeah.
breaks a little bit through. You want to prevent it, but you still have all the heal here. Just a priest constantly healing, not using them or moving them in any way. And here you see how he moves back his spellbreakers behind in the next row. So he literally lost almost nothing, except I think for one mortar.
Good positioning, and also now, how long this game goes? I mean,
Of course, yeah, he has a lot of more supply, but still it's very valid, even if you have an equal amount. But of course, he's up in supply is of course his proper strategy he played, and the economic advantage he has. So,
and
so
also,
I've seen, yeah, I have also seen human armies losing with this supply against this supply.
how much supply does the Nightelf have right now?
I think he's around 50, 44.
44.
Of course.
And he is human basically on 70 or stuff like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he lost a lot, I think, before.
Hmm.
So there, of course, he had more supply, and that's also usually the case. You win a fight if you have more supply, but the position can even make you lose the game, even though you have more supply.
But he doesn't need a heal scroll when he's managing his beast well, and of course now he has a shop and he knows his pressure
Yeah,
can stay, because now he can always just heal his units,
yeah.
right?
It's also something which Chaemiko does really good here. The idea of sometimes you think you push here and you have won the game already, but
Mm.
it's not likely the case because the Night Elf could still utilize this mine. He could still bring out maybe a big army, and Night Elves can save easily a lot of units with it to stuff and heal them up.
Mm.
So he doesn't overestimate the power of the Moonwell base and the Night Elf base, which can be really strong. So what he decides is to go for a defensive position again, like he did here.
Mm.
Bring up some tower, especially arcane towers are really great because they lower the mana.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lower the mana, you destroy the Moonwell healing more because
Yes.
mana is more expensive. And also you lower the bear's mana and there is not much opportunity to heal.
And never underestimate a panda when he's getting your units finishing in 3 or 4
Exactly.
at once. I know how that feels because sometimes there's a throw potential to be too cocky,
Yeah.
and in this case he makes it very good. He makes sure that he won't overcommit, but he see how many units he is
Yeah.
able to kill with the panda only.
Yeah.
So
How like even Kaho could still get up quite a good fight, even low on supply. And
yes,
that's why Chaemiko stays defensive and in position. Otherwise he might even lose those kind of fights, yeah.
yeah, because he knows he wants to make sure he can keep up the pressure. So that's
Exactly.
the way he's doing.
So it's not really a game of going into big battle and fighting, but more
Mhm.
he's constantly trading, bringing out the mana from the enemy to slowly cure him down, as,
Yes,
as we
yes,
say. Yeah,
yes,
he
because
doesn't has the need to win and go
yeah,
for the full push and think like all or nothing. It's always a matter of trading, and that's basically a strategy decision. Yeah,
mm.
he he knows exactly he doesn't even need to, and it's more efficient, and he doesn't risk. He's minimizing his risk of losing by doing so.
And the way he's like delaying the expansion, just making him uh make it impossible to get the expansion back. He's just getting more income, and he
Yes.
can build on that and tries to not to lose too many units. So every unit he's losing is also he's on tier 3 already. So also he
Yeah.
behind it, he tagged behind that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, he was standing here very strong. He tucked behind that, just in case. This is like kind of the thing for like a. If you think about back to this tree, like a best case scenario. I'm
Yeah.
here. I have the advantage. I use this now to tech up to become even stronger.
Yes.
You wouldn't do this in a 50-50 trade
Yes.
scenario, but in a best case scenario, you can do that. And with this tower here in the middle, like literally Kaho can never go out of his space because anytime he creeps, he will lose part of his space.
Mm. And also, um, how are the upgrades on the spell breakers? By the way, 1-1. Okay.
1-1, and yeah, he
D-
goes for the first upgrade. It's the most efficient and cost efficient one, and this is how he wins this game pretty easily.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was the way I would imagine he could Sok could have played on the concealed hill as well. With
let's see.
yeah.
Yeah, I bring another game which is
Yes.
Hawk against Foggy.
Ah,
Just we go a
nice.
little bit over time, but it's fine.
No,
Like,
if it's okay for you. Hello,
yeah, it's fine for
Salarex.
me.
Hello. Yeah.
So I would just show this because it's a little bit of a different game and different decision, and it's kind of how you. It's kind of played the same as Sock, but he advanced on this because he was facing mostly Must Dryads. This Foggy tried
Foggy,
to play a
Foggy
little bit
likes to
like
he likes to play like
yeah,
this, right? Yeah.
like this Must Moon style, and Hawk goes there, but he also does a lot of great decisions in this game, bringing him the win.
Interesting. Hawk against Foggy.
And I like Hawk as a player generally. Like he's kind of, I think, like a the happy of the humans, like less successful, obviously, but uh, these two players, I'm not sure if it's related to being a Russian, but they don't seem to be very this big strategy players,
Mm-hmm.
but they do very great strategic decision just by intuition. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
They obviously maybe don't have like the big brain behind that, but they are doing it still because they are so experienced and they keep playing these meta strategies down and down and down, and they have experienced all kind of situations and they know to adapt to it.
Mm-hmm. So you would say like if what makes Hawk like you compare him to Happy, what would have been awesome when he's like, what is his weakness of Hawk?
I think he plays too much World of Warcraft.
Okay, that's a good thing. Yeah.
It's this is the problem if you're like a very intuitive player. Yeah, you of course you need to invest a lot of time into this, and if someone like Happy is probably investing much more time than Happy, so he just has more experience and takes better decisions and just performs in generally better and executes well. But Hawk is kind of for me always a kind of reference if I look into what's the meta strategy, because he is always very solid in playing those. Yeah.
Okay, wait a second. I need to refresh. Come back. Oh, then call it back. Now I'm back. Let's go. Yeah. So you think like that. Hawk is sometimes. I think like sometimes when I see him playing, it's like so smart, good decisions, and there are sometimes plays where I think like he's
Yeah.
just not executing well. So
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
This is kind of like the trade of if you play very intuitive, yeah. Sometimes your intuition will fool you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Foggy goes very typical style for this map here. He goes for fast expansion himself, already bringing a lot of wisps to be sure that this action, he brings a lot of effort to keeping up this early expansion.
Mm. And it has to invest maybe 2 wisps, 120
Exactly.
gold in the early game, um, just to make sure that his expansion won't get cancelled.
Yeah. And then it also makes sense Hawk will answer this with going for a second barracks and trying to push very early on,
Mm-hmm.
because he knows he will have a income earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of this 50-50 trade thing, but you go a little bit ahead, which means you need to utilize that you're ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if you go to a late game style against equal level,
Mm-hmm.
you will always lose a lot of momentum in the mid game, which the Night of then can utilize to, and you will most likely lose.
Yes, I see.
So yeah, he does some damage here, but he can't really finish it. He still tries to get level 3, like
Mm-hmm.
as we said before, it's quite important against Nightelf
Mm.
to get this level 3 up. And he just accepts he cannot kill it, but he delayed it a bit.
Yeah, and also like
Yeah,
sometimes it's also a success.
yeah,
Like getting the attention of the Night of Foggy
exactly.
didn't do any damage to the humans expansion, right?
Exactly, yeah. And what he likes to do now, he knows he cannot kill the Tree of Life, but he knows he can kill the Entangled Gold Mine. That's why he
Mm.
surely goes to level 3 and comes back. Also, maybe getting the Night out of position. Of course, Foggy is not as stupid. He stays here until his expansion is up, at least close. But still,
He will
he
manage to
cannot do
cancel
really
this.
much.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if he needs to dispel those water mantles, and that will cost. Or if he's not, he will get delayed again.
exactly. And he will, yeah, he decides in the end to dispel a bit. I think now he tried bread that keeps them alive.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to lose them too much.
Yes. Well, I like this because this situation is so nice, and I found it for myself the last couple of weeks to see the strength of this push. This push is much
Yeah,
stronger than canceling the expansion with a lot of effort, because I
exactly.
think the Night Elf grows in strength on tier 2, and when you get the possibility to creep the panda and stuff like that. But if you make it possible to delay the Night Elf's early game, and you can just go what you ever want to do,
Yes.
because he's not like he can, if Foggy pushes now, he has enough units. He has level 3 Archmage, and now he's also just going for the archers, which is also great because he's
Yeah,
not able to creep.
yeah. And also here, as a remark, like he's not building any riflemen yet so early. Yeah, he wants, because against a keeper, you just want to bring the rifles up as soon as you have priests.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they are too volatile to die and too expensive and too important. So he decides not to go for double sanctum.
Mm-hmm.
I think now he goes exactly for. Oh no, he just plays the non-mystery the panda. Okay, I was a bit mistaken. I thought he'd go for double barracks, but again, I think this double barracks is not really the best way, I would also say.
Mm-hmm. I would I love to see what he's doing now. Nice round.
Yeah, he still knows he has this moment, just like Chaemiko a bit. Like he keeps putting up the pressure because he knows the Nightelf doesn't have anything before he's tier 3
And no
to really
dispel,
threaten him.
and like maybe he has one Dryad, but he needs to have the upgrade, and Dryads can get killed by the water elemental easily. So everything is in favor for the human right now.
Exactly. He does a lot of damage. He knows he will not finish him, but just doing tons of damage.
Mm.
Here's the problem, but he does it really on time. Like the priest come just in time,
Oh,
and he will
wow.
save it.
That
It's a
was the
really,
best, good timing, yeah. But Hawk
really
likes to do
great play.
this, like they're playing very aggressively with such
Yeah.
an army. See him doing that a lot. Sometimes I'm not sure about that right now,
Yeah, he's a little bit overcommitting here. Not
because I
really
think
doing
like why not just creeping his laboratory or the mid creeps? I would have
exactly.
loved
Yes.
to see that, because now he's giving some. I think he was like,
Yeah.
oh, overconfident. I did so much
He
damage, but now he's town portaling, and yeah, I think
lost too
he.
much. He could have taken this one here or the middle.
And on level 2
Exactly.
Panda already, then he can get heal scrolls.
Exactly.
So I think that's would have been much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also he used this. He knows Foggy kind of playing these must tries, and he realized, okay, I have a time shift. I got a lot of momentum. I can go to tier 3,
So
and I get a
yeah.
workshop up.
So he makes sure that he did some damage, so he can go for tier 3. That's sometimes
Exactly.
very tough to go for, because if you don't have a good early game, it's nearly impossible to go for tier
Yeah.
3.
It's again this kind of best case scenario. I can utilize my time now to go to 3-3, and this will be very strong against the Dryas because I can push out workshop, shrapnel, mortar teams.
Would you say that double barracks would also been an option to like go mass rifleman with priests, or is it like better like he's doing it right now?
I think it would be also an option, but it's again like it's this kind of like all-in push style, which I think a lot of pros, if you also understand the game as a matter of trading, as long as you can finish on the long run, it's always a certain risk there. You know,
Yes.
it can work. I think Starbuck is a player who does this kind of pushes really well when
Yes.
he plays human. Like a lot of distinct pushes to win him the game. But it's a lot of humans, I think, nowadays also they want to play more safe and they want to win the game for sure. Minimize the risk of losing the game.
Do you think like Hawk knows that Foggy likes to go for must rides? Because I know it too. And
I
if I
think so,
would
yeah,
face
for
him, I would
sure.
say like I will keep that in mind.
For sure.
And
Like you can see that he goes only priests, riflemen, mortars. There's no sogs, no spellbreaker. He's kind of knowing Foggy wants to do this kind of get back into the game move because Foggy has a little bit worst case scenario.
yeah.
He wants now to snipe out units permanently until he has a mass to destroy his enemy.
He wants to buy time, he wants to creep the
Yeah.
panda, but Foggy makes very strong as like I would go for a lot of towers, or like 2 or 3
Yeah.
at least, because I know he will do it over and over again.
This
And
is exactly what Hawk is doing. Yeah, towering up his bases and getting out only anti-Dryad units, basically. Yeah,
yes, because
like the anti-Dryad coalition of dwarves.
that's the only way how Foggy can back into this game, if he manages to do a lot of damage and echo damage to the human right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He stays here around the middle. He doesn't even bother go for these creeps because he knows Foggy will try to catch his units, and he wants to stay in the center and force the fights, but
Yes.
also being a constant threat to the expansion with his mortars.
Also, this mortars with shrapnel,
Yes.
this is huge against riots.
Like this kind of fights, if you're really like range against range, it doesn't even make any sense to micro units because
Yeah.
they will be slowed. They don't do nothing. Just keep shooting, and the more firepower
Yes.
wins. Yeah, it's
Yes.
like
It's
throwing
not
bombs at each
about
other.
kiting, because we have no slow, we have no bears. It's
Yeah.
like the firepower of the human army. It's like more relaxing because you don't need to keep everything in mind with fear dragons and stuff. That's like your units counter his units. Make sure you have heal scrolls.
Yeah.
Maybe cast some inner fire that he has to dispel that. Also to make effort to micro. But you see how many Dryads he's killing just with the mortar. But he's losing as well some.
Yeah, it's a train, and like he just doesn't want his priest to get sniped, but he's just keeping attack.
Yes, yes,
Both
yes.
players, yeah, they don't care about microing back single units. They're
Mm.
just hit,
But
hit, hit.
wait a second, I'll
Oh,
refresh.
yeah,
Going call again. Yeah, I like it because I think sometimes it happens to me that I lose against Dryads, Must Dryads, because he's managing to do just to run into your base, killing workers and peasants and stuff.
yeah,
And at a certain moment, you're like, okay, now he's just getting sometimes mountain giants or bears if he's managing to buy some time. But in this case, Hawk did it pretty well. He's standing in the middle, so make sure he's able to fight. And also, those mortars right now will crush the Dryads easily.
yes, for sure.
So now he has a good amount. This is amount of mortars. No chance. No chance for the Dryads. Like, wow. That's a slaughter. Oh my
They'll just die
god.
now. Bam.
Uh,
Even though Foggy was able to get us some bears,
yeah,
it's
but
just too
it's
much.
too much. And tier 3 army of a human is also scary.
Yeah,
Like, now he's getting inner fire. And if he has so many mortars, he can kill the Dryads. And then he has no dispel. So, and also he had added one sorceress already. So, very good. Very nice played by
exactly.
Hawk.
And yeah, this is kind of like the pro replays I prepared. So just to show
Thank
a
you very
little bit
much.
the basis about what you need to play against Nightelf, like where are the kind of ups and downs.